Injunctions and Counter-Injunctions, TA11. This is the second in a series of videos about transactional analysis, starting with an introduction to Eric Berne's social transactional analysis and his 6 ego states. This one focuses on injunctions and counter-injunctions, which form our script, what we call our program. I'm also going to introduce the script matrix, developed by Claude Steiner, which diagrams how injunctions and counter-injunctions get internalized and installed in our psyche. Let's begin. When we were children, we received many messages from our parents and other caregivers. Some of these were positive and some negative. However, most of these messages were not given consciously with the intention to harm. These are more positive but conditional messages, like, be perfect, try hard, please me. These come from the same source as injunctions. But because they're more positive, we're more likely to listen to them. However, this positivity is only skin deep because these messages come with conditions. It was just the way they were, so we internalized those messages and made them our own. We took in those messages and they flowed into our parent ego state. From there, they moved into our adult ego state, where they were processed and then sent out as messages from our own parent ego state. Our parents also sent out adult messages, which we took in and sent out as adult messages from our own adult ego state. And finally, our parents also had a child ego state, and they sent out child messages from that ego state as well, which we took in and sent out as messages from our own child ego state. Therefore, the message is really, don't try or please me. These messages come from our past, but they continue to run our lives until we become aware of them and choose to stop running on the script. His structural model explains how injunctions, counter-injunctions, and programs get installed in us as children, and how they continue to influence our thoughts and behaviors as adults. Don't make me proud, otherwise we'll never do anything, because we could never be perfect, strong enough, smart enough, etc. In this diagram, P stands for parent, A stands for adult, and C stands for child. Click here to watch the first video on transactional analysis and the 6 ego state. Next, we're going to look at complementary transactions, which is another key concept in transactional analysis. Thanks for watching. Those internalized messages that may not have been obviously stated but were still absorbed nonetheless are called injunctions. They're often negative messages like don't feel or don't succeed or don't belong. For example, if a child asks their mother for something and she says no and gives them a sharp look, the child might take in the message, next time I ask for something, I won't get it. Or if the mother says, why don't you ask your brother instead? The child might internalize the message, my needs are not important. Now, it's important to note that these injunctions are unconscious. We don't know we've taken them in and made them our own. If someone points out these injunctions to us, or we become aware of them through reflection, we might resist them because they feel untrue. But injunctions run deep and are usually correct. For example, if one of your injunctions is don't trust, then every time someone tries to be too friendly with you, you'll immediately put up your walls. And even if someone tells you you're being too unfriendly, you won't believe it because the injunction is stronger than any conscious effort to ignore it. It's also important to note that injunctions are not the same as traumas. You can internalize a traumatic event without it becoming an injunction. Not all injunctions are the result of trauma. In fact, most are simply the result of normal parenting. The way to counteract injunctions is with counter-injunctions. For example, if we say to someone, be perfect, they will never be perfect enough. These injunctions and counter-injunctions form our mini-script, which is the part of our script that drives our behavior under stress. To diagram how injunctions and counter-injunctions work, I'm going to use Claude Steiner's script matrix. When we were kids, Our parents would give us messages from their parent and adult ego states. It's almost as if we're programming ourselves based on the programming we received. As I mentioned earlier, this video is part of a series.